Hello, my lovelies, and welcome back to the grim, moribund wonders of Custodia. Welcome back to Let's Replay Blasphemous, Wounds of Eventide. We are slowly getting there. The game is so big now. The game is enormous. If you want to do all of the little story arcs, if you want to follow all of the little quests and get their endings, the characters, the add-ons, do all the secret bosses and the secret areas, it is huge. It has the kind of time frame that like an old-fashioned RPG would have. It's incredible. The way this game is expanded with all the new add-ons and additions. The original game was big enough and had enough secrets in it, but now with all the expanded areas, the new bosses and everything, it's enormous. Now before we move on, we've actually got to go back to where the olive trees wither, and to the mountains, because there are a few little secrets up there that we need to do, just a few items and things that we need to get. There's also one of the Amanasidas up there, which I don't think we've got a good chance of beating yet, but we'll have a go. Just so I can show you, I mean, you've seen the Amanasidas if you saw my last playthrough, but I'll give you a view of what they're like. The Amanasidas are the bosses from the secret bosses from the last add-on, and boy are they tough. I think there are 5 altogether. They're all of a type because they're all aspects of the same entity, but each aspect is a slightly different facet, and so a slightly different form of grief and of penance, so the bosses themselves are different. It's very cool. They're some of my favourite bosses in this game, actually. They're very well balanced, they're very interesting. I've also managed in my personal playthrough to fight both of the new bosses from this add-on. Boy, oh my god, the Wounds of Eventide bosses are bastards. Both of them. They're 2 of the hardest bosses in this game, and you've got to learn some of the naughty tricks with this game in order to beat them. I don't think it's possible to beat them like in a straight up fight, particularly the one from Echoes of Salt. The boss from Echoes of Salt is incredible, but it's the hardest boss in this game by a country mile. I mean, Escribar at the end is nothing compared to it. Escribar's bloody easy, quite frankly, compared to both of them. But you'll see when we get to them. You'll see. And get to them we shall. My god. Or rather than invoking God, I should be invoking the miracle or the high wills, I suppose, shouldn't I? Not that I really want anything to do with either of them. If they do another game, then, which apparently they are, Blasphemous 2 is in production by all accounts, then I wonder if they'll go into any detail as to the nature of the grievous miracle. Oh hello, this is interesting, look at this. You have acquired dried flowers bathed in tears. Interesting. Olive tree petals vitrified by frost, tears of true bitterness prevented the cold from withering them completely. How they are an offering never made, lost in the snow before it could reach the sepulchre of the saint. Now they are an offering never made, lost in the snow before it could reach the sepulchre of the saint. It's a lovely word, sepulchre. Well, I remember it with great sorrow. Ingracia was one of us, born in Albiro like you and me. She was peculiar, however, because every day after a day gathering olives, she stayed in the mountains while the rest of us left. Some said they had seen her cry, and that's why we thought she strayed among the olive trees to be alone with her sorrow. Many years of drought raised the land back then, but although the other crops dried up and died, the olive trees on our hill would not. They remained the best harvests to everyone's surprise. This gave rise to the rumour that the olive trees were being watered by the girl's very tears. One morning we found the girl dead, leaning on one of the olive trees. Whether she died of sorrow we will never know. We buried her in a small cave next to the olive trees where she cried. The next day the olive trees had withered. So again, the grievous miracle fundamentally changing the landscape of this world. It's a mistake in Custodia to try and separate metaphysics from the physical. It's not like our world where metaphysics effectively occurs in the abstract. You know, it's about It's about the unseen element of human life. Oh, what does that do? Oh, it would have given us like an item or a spell or something if we were playing the normal game, but we've already got it. So yeah. Interesting. Oh, there's my cat, Rufus, jumping in front of me. But yes, here, abstraction and the physical world are the same thing. Belief, ideology, and physical reality are all the same thing. The laws of physics are the laws of belief in this world. It's a metaphysics that's not unlike that of 40k or of Warhammer, it seems, where belief has weight. You know, the strength of belief and conviction and thought and inspiration can have physical effects in the real world. It seems to me that that's what's happening here in Custodia. I don't know whether the manifestations we're seeing are the nature of the miracle, or whether this is the nature of the miracle because this is what the people in Custodia believe, right? It's hard to say, and it's never really explained. There's a few things in the background that make you doubt the nature of the miracle. For example, the background for the Amanasidas does suggest that the miracle is not a very pleasant thing. The Amanasidas exist because the miracle is jealous, at least according to one character that we'll talk to later on. He claims that the Amanasidas exist because the strength of faith of the person who would become the Amanasidas was too much, and too much placed in the Twisted One as the avatar of the miracle rather than in the miracle itself. And so the miracle is capable of jealousy, and of cruel jealousy at that. That's why it sealed the Amanasidas away in their coffins of crystal. The strength of their faith was too much and too misplaced insofar as the miracle was concerned, which is a really dark and unpleasant thing, isn't it? It means that the miracle is capricious, very much how the gods of monotheism in our own reality are portrayed. The fact that they are capable of emotions such as jealousy and anger and cruelty and bitterness is worrying, is it not? It should be. Especially to those who believe in such things. I mean, it should be a sincere theological and metaphysical problem for you. If your belief is sincere at all. Those are mysteries that you should grapple with, rather than pretending that there's an answer for them. Because there isn't. It's the whole problem of evil thing, you know. There is and has never been a good answer for the problem of evil. In all the decades and centuries of apologism and theology, there has never been an even halfway decent answer for that conundrum, and nor should there be, nor will there ever be, because it is insurmountable. It is absolutely insurmountable. And that's kind of what you've got here. The high wills, whatever that is, and the miracle defy any kind of definition in those terms. In fact, what I would argue with regards to the miracle, considering that the miracle seems to be a phenomena in and of itself, I don't know whether it has any relation to what is referred to as the high will, or whether it's something that just occurred in and of itself. It may be an even more sincere form of metaphysics, or certainly as a concept, than you actually find in monotheistic theology in our own world. That's a fascinating thing. I will always go for fantasy worlds that have a sincerely considered mythology, but one where it's very ambiguous, like here. I mean, it's the kind of metaphysics I create all the time. I mean, if you read Born in Blood, funnily enough, and I started writing Born in Blood before I ever played Blasphemous, but the short stories contained in those collections have a metaphysics, a background metaphysics, that isn't entirely unlike this. It is also based on pain and suffering and trauma. But I think the main difference is here the emphasis is on expiation. That is pain and mutilation as a way of absolving oneself of some notion of original sin. Whereas in Born in Blood, that same process is not as a means of expiation as such. It's a way of reifying who we are, of facing ourselves in ways that we otherwise wouldn't want to, those aspects of ourselves that are sublimated for the sake of our own sanity, and then using that as a springboard for transcendence rather than calcification within belief. In Born in Blood, the metaphysics undoes certainty, whereas here it seems it reinforces it. Even when the penitent one succeeds at the end of the game, it's not necessarily a good thing. It doesn't usher in some sort of transcendent state for Custodia. All it does is it recycles the metaphysics. It changes, but it just becomes the penitent one's version of the grievous miracle that's pervasive. And that seems to be the way it works in this world. It's again very like Dark Souls, where whoever basically fulfills either the linking of the fire or the bringing in, the ushering in of the abyss, the world transforms itself according to their principles, according to their beliefs, but it's ultimately still the same cycle, right? That's what you get here. That's certainly what's suggested at the end of this. So in many respects, the penitent one is no better than any of the other characters here. He's just, it's almost like a case of might makes right, yeah? He just seems to be the most martially capable of all of the various different champions of the church of the miracle that exist. It was Escribar at one time. The miracle resurrected Escribar after his moment of doubt and filled him with the various pains and penances of the miracle. So now he's the one who represents it. But at the end, it's the penitent one. There is a kind of transcendence, but only for the penitent one, not for everyone else, and certainly not for the world. Custodia itself doesn't benefit from the penitent one murdering Escribar and destroying all of these old champions of the miracle. He just becomes the next in line. And that's kind of, in Born in Blood, what I wanted to undo. I didn't want to create like a revolutionary metaphysics where it just goes back to a previous condition. I wanted to make one where it breaks the circle, where trauma, mutilation, pain become the means by which we undo cycles of self and cycles of certainty. And it's fascinating that this game, this story, it acknowledges that and then goes for the despair. It actually goes for a very despairing ending rather than a utopian one. But there's potential here for a kind of utopia. I mean, in its own peculiar way, in its own horrific way, I suppose, Custodia is already utopian. This is what the people want. This is what they believe, and they find meaning in their suffering and in their grief and in their trauma. Oh fuck. Ah, no, well, I will get right back there. The people of Custodia, although they are in pain and they are in grief and they are in trauma, they find meaning in that. They find poetry in that. The miracle has transformed everything at their behest in many respects. And this state of conflict, where you've got different forms of the miracle manifesting all over the place and different champions and churches of the miracle, that's the way it's supposed to be, according to the people anyway. There does seem to be a suggestion, though, of an underlying confusion or mystery regarding the miracle. What that means, we don't really know, we never really find out. Not in this game, anyway. Because we don't ever really meet the Twisted One. I suppose the ultimate manifestation of this story is if we it would be if we actually encountered the Twisted One, who is the Christ figure of this entire faith, the child who originally ushered in the miracle. which we don't in this game, but maybe in the sequel, who knows? I mean, what would be the ultimate irony, of course, is if the Twisted One is not what the Gospels and the stories that people in Custodia believe and propagate actually say, if he's something different. In the same way that, like, Gwyn in Dark Souls isn't what his mythology proclaims him to be. The Age of Fire isn't what it is proclaimed to be in that mythology, right? And we find that out in the first game, of course. Gwyn and his pantheon are liars. They're fucking liars. And not only are they liars, but they're perversities. They didn't create the Age of Fire. They perverted the existing metaphysics of creation just to sustain their own primacy. And it feels like that might be what's going on here. Although, when we meet Escribar, you'll see it seems like he is guiding us to this point. It feels like he wants this to happen. Like we are the next phase in this metaphysics, and we are inevitable. This is the will of the miracle. And of course that makes sense. That makes perfect sense, given that we were resurrected at the beginning of the game, right? We should be dead. If the miracle didn't favour our version of it, we should be dead. We should have stayed dead, and we didn't. Not only that, but the miracle allows us to murder all of these old saints, right? All of these old prophets and messiahs of the miracle who were previously favoured by it. That's fascinating. It seems as though the miracle has changed its mind, maybe, or has moved on to a different phase or something like that. I love that. I think the Detestatio Secorum. Whee! Fun. Well, that's another one of the Escribar statues done. One of the harder ones as well, by the way. Brilliance. Absolute brilliance. There's a few other things we need to do up here in the mountains. For one thing, the grown sprout. So the thorn on the small gift from Dio Gracias, nailed into the effigy of the Twisted under the guard of your sword. Dio Gracias' farewell, brother out. Yeah, you've read that. We've already read that. It doesn't change. I thought it might change as the thorn changes, but it doesn't. Okay, so hello. We can get you as well. There's a couple of these up here that we haven't got yet. We're aiming to get all of them, by the way. Oh, there's Rufus again. Hello Rufus, how you doing? She just like leapt right in front of me while I'm doing my commentary. As she is wont to do, aren't you, cat? Oh, that's nice to know. Yay! Oh, the church is open now, so we can actually go in, which is cool. There's actually a lot more to do with this church in the add-ons. There's a priestly character later on. Oh, I can give my Tears of Atonement to this, and that would be useful, because it can actually absolve my grief in the same way that the Escribar statues can. So that's cool. Also, there is a character later on in... I think he's in the Mother of Mothers. And he has a very interesting story arc. To get the best outcome for the penitent one, you need to do the dark version of his quest, the one that ends the worst for him. It's really interesting, really bizarre. You are punished as the player and as the penitent one if you lead him down the path that makes him happy and sees him thriving, sees him surviving. It's really strange. But yes, we'll deal with him when we meet him. I think we've got some more stuff for these guys too. Yeah, incense garlic, nice. I like a bit of garlic.
Merciful be, penitent one. With your contribution, the work of this brotherhood carries on.
I don't think these people use it in the same way I use it, though. I use it in cooking, in almost everything. There's hardly, like, a savoury dish I know that doesn't have garlic in it.
Merciful be, penitent one. With your contribution, the work of this brotherhood carries on.
Oh yeah, you're doing a bang-up job.
Time time outside these walls passes by strangely. In sundowns we need not contemplate.
Yeah, time in Custodia is as weird as it is in, like, the FromSoft games.
Be so kind as to bring us some ingredients for our ointments. Sorrowful be the heart, penitent one full of clemency.
I really like that as a sign-off. Sorrowful be the heart. I might just start saying that to people in my waking life and see how they react. Sorrowful be the heart. Love it. Oh yeah, the ossuary. Got a lot more bones now, a lot more relics, I'm telling you. Hello! Many, many bones! We're getting there. As I say, I fought the ossuary boss.
For your help, O virtuous penitent one.
You're welcome, and so are the bones.
The bones before me, and we will uncover the truth that they keep silent.
Oh, I know all about the bloody truth that they keep silent. She's a pest. She's through that door. The boss of the ossuary. She is so difficult. It's unbelievable. Easily one of the hardest bosses in this game. But I am getting there with her. I know how to defeat her. It's just being good enough to do it. The boss in Echoes of Salt, on the other hand, oh dear, it's difficult. It's very difficult. And in order to complete Wounds of Eventide, you need to kill them both. The Graveyard of the Peaks. That's the name I keep forgetting. Okay, so what do I need to do? We've got the Amanacida up here. That's something I can show you. I love the Amanacida bosses, actually. They're all really fun. Very tricky, but very fun. In fact, the one up here in the Graveyard of the Peaks is one of the hardest ones. She's got like a bow of lightning. And wherever the arrows fly, chains of lightning follow them. And she sets up all of these very peculiar combos. Very difficult boss indeed. Probably don't have the means of taking her on at the moment. But, in fact, just reaching her is tricky because of all these things in the way. Love the music up here. I've said it before, in fact I said it in both my previous playthroughs, but snow levels in 2D games, I really like them for some reason. I've always liked them. Since like the Super Nintendo Mega Drive days, and in games on those systems, certainly side-scrolling games, there was almost always a snow level of some description. The ones I remember the best are games like Donkey Kong Country on the Super Nintendo. The snow levels on those games, Donkey Kong Country 1, 2 and 3, are spectacular. And I mean absolutely spectacular, particularly in Donkey Kong Country 3. The snow levels are out of this world. Right, the Amanacida is in that little square off to the right there. So actually quite tricky to reach. Especially intact. But what I'm going to do, I'll just wake them all up. I'll go through the game, wake them all up, and then I'll fight them one by one. Which should be fun and stressful. Okay. Oh, hello, there's a cherubim up there. I need to find a way up there to get that. Now, how do I get you? God, these things take some killing in New Game Plus. Actually, there's a whole section up there that we haven't been to yet. Ah, that's interesting. How do I get there? I think I have to go up and round. Yeah, I'm going to have to go this way. This is going to be a pain, but that was close. Look at the background. Isn't that beautiful? Yeah, oh fuck. That went well. That went very well. Okay, let's start that climb again, shall we? Wow. This is Sisyphian, isn't it? Ow, thank you. Yeah, the backgrounds are beautiful in this area. Custodia just is one of those fantasy worlds that I find aesthetically so pleasing. And, you know, kudos to the creators of this, the art design, whoever did the art design for Custodia and whoever did the writing, the background for it, kudos to them because it's beautiful. It is absolutely stunning. Easily one of my favourite video game worlds of recent years. I am I'm really fucking this up. Yeah. Oh, dear me. Again, Sisyphian, right? That rock just rolls back down and we keep rolling it back up. I will get it right before long. In fact, I think Sisyphus would actually fit rather well into Custodia. As would most of the souls in Tartarus and Greek mythology, they would fit in perfectly. My favourite of those stories is always the tale of Tantalus, whose sin was desecration, by the way. And whose punishment was particularly unpleasant and severe. He would make a great custodian. I mean, the name of the world is interesting, is it not? On a, you know, mythological level. Custodia, the guard, that which guards, right? That which protects. That's what custodian means. So what does that imply? Does it mean that Custodia is the realm of guardianship of the miracle? Is that what it means? Guardianship of the faith? Or is there something else underneath? Is there another implication somewhere? What exactly is Custodia guarding? Or guarding against? Questions, questions, questions. And yet precious little answers. Also, one thing that's never really explored, the Penitent One's order. They're the Order of the Penitent Ones, right? What is their penitence for? We never really find out. What is it that they believe? What is their peculiar manifestation of grief within the miracle? Clearly it's very powerful, right? And clearly the miracle itself approves, yeah? I mean, the conviction of our Penitent One could not be in doubt, surely. Uh-oh. Ah, okay, so maybe... Yes, this is the way we haven't been. This is the way we haven't been. So there's a chamber up there. Ah! And there's an item over there. Okay, well, this might take a while. We've got to kill both of these. And these guys are tough. They're not particularly aggressive. They just take ages to kill because they're so bloody slow and defensive. Lovely. Ooh, hello. Watch very closely. Look, that is the creature inside. That's what's alive, not the statue. It's the sacred bones in the coffin that are propelling that. A parietal bone of Lassa the Inquisitor. Unlike other Inquisitors, Lassa showed an unusual amount of indulgence towards the accused, even to the point of stopping executions. His weakness led him to excommunication and exile. I imagine it would in Custodia. That kind of mercy is not necessarily looked well upon, is it? In fact, that kind of mercy would probably be looked upon as sacrilegious, wouldn't it? you are denying people their proper penance, which is a blasphemy, right? It's not something you're supposed to do. Right, okay. Then we need to make our way up there. Bloody hell, this is tricky. There's so many, like... Oh! Oh, hang on. This has actually worked out to our benefit. I can get the cherubim now. Yay! You'll see the point of those a little later on. There's a particular area where the amount of cherubim that you collect determines a particular reward. And it's also got one of the grisliest images in the entire game, like really unpleasant. Go away, you. These things are really tough because they can hit you from any point, on or off screen. Well, see? Doesn't really matter where you are, these guys can reach you. And they're tough as well, they've got a certain tankiness to them. God, this is tough. Timing here has to be absolutely bang on, otherwise the branches don't grow at the right time. This is where the Amanacida is, and it's a tough one. The thing with the Amanacida is they have very, 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 very particular patterns, and as long as you learn them, you're fine. Here she is. Oh, and there's also an item at the back there. What have we got? Tears of Atonement, okay. It's probably... Oh. Oh, yes. Okay, right. The first Amanacida. We probably won't beat this. I'm considering, should we? Should we fight it or not? Yeah, I'll show you it. We won't beat it at this point. I don't think we've got the means to beat it at the moment, but we'll give it a go. Look at this. How beautiful is that? There she is. Amanacida of the Bejeweled Arrow. Now, all of the Amanacidas have this protection around them that needs to be destroyed before you can start harming them. That makes them doubly difficult. Oh, she didn't like that. Not happy about that one. Now we can start doing damage. And as you can see, they're tanky bosses too. They take some bloody killing, I can tell you. Whoa, look at that. Yeah, we do not have the means of taking this down at the moment. They are incredible, though. I really love these bosses. The animation's gorgeous, too. If you look at the cloak, the way it flows and everything. Very pretty bosses. Gorgeous background, too. Ooh. This is only her first phase as well. Ah, now, one thing they can do is resurrect that jewel. Don't let them do it. It makes them 1,000 times harder. Oof. Ow. Okay. Uh-oh. Ah! Yeah, she got us a good one there. Believe it or not, she's actually one of the easier of the Amanacidas as well. Some of them later on are pains. And then later on, when you've defeated the Amanacidas, they come together as one. They actually become the original saint that they were derived from, and she has the powers of all of them. And she is a pain. She's very difficult. Good fun, though. I mean, I don't know what will happen once we've defeated all of these bosses, once we've done the bosses for the previous add-on and the new one, Wounds of Eventide. I don't know. I don't know what that will result in. Something good, I hope. Right, what can we do? What should we do? We should go to Hondo, really. There's a boss down here that we need to defeat. Actually, a boss that's quite annoying, I have to say. Of the 3 first bosses, this one I really don't like. They've never fixed the programming on this one, and it's one of the very few in the game, I would say, is problematic. I would say there's a problem with the programming of this boss, which makes it unduly difficult. But let's see if we can give it a good go, yeah? All of the others, they're only difficult because they're difficult. You know, they're intended to be. This one is difficult because it's badly programmed. And really, it's luck that determines how you whether you defeat it or not. It's largely luck. Now what we need to do, you see that big bell in the background? That statue that we just saw up at the top is linked to several other statues throughout Hondo. We need to destroy the statues, and they're holding chains. Do you see these chains in the foreground? They are guiding you. The big chain in the foreground is an indication that you're on the right track, because that is what we want to destroy. It's what's holding the bell of Hondo in place and stopping it from resounding. I love the fact that these guys are like aficionados of Hondo itself. Ew, these split guys are some of the worst. It's vile, isn't it? What the miracle has done to them. Mind you, that said, they seem perfectly content in their conditions, so I'm not going to judge. Oh, hello. There's an item over there. Oh, you bastard. Every time they hit the wall, you fall off if you're clinging to it. They've also got very, very wide and high hitboxes, these guys. You've sort of got to get used to it. The hitbox is slightly taller and wider than the sprite. So you've got to kind of get used to that. There are a few sprites in the game where that's true. The paladins who you fight in the latter areas, they have that problem. So what is this? Vertebrae of Lindquist the Forger. Wherever a bell rings in Custodia, its sound owes its existence to Lindquist. This forger never saw his bizarre magnum opus called Hondo completed. Oh, so Lindquist is the creator of Hondo. Wow, okay. That's cool. Wow, what an achievement, eh? I mean, Hondo is like the bell of bells. It is so immense. And it's like the source of an entire cult within Custodia. It's very cool. A bouquet of rosemary, excellent. Bunch of aromatic herbs, common not long ago along the forest of the Holy Trail. Today, however, their scarcity makes them increasingly valuable, especially for those who discern their healing abilities. Confessions of Tirso, Part 5. Congregation members, witnesses to the phenomenon, watched in astonishment and fear, except for one of our sisters who knelt beside me, and without fear of contagion, kissed one of the terrible sores that the affection had caused on the young man, and the wound began to close. The brothers fell to their knees amidst tears and prayers. It's so weird, isn't it? It is a world of suffering. It is a world of penance and self-flagellation and mutilation and absolute hideous atrocities. But it's also a realm of ecstasies. That is also true. And it's a strange truth to realise, yeah? That is not going to work, is it? We need to destroy that from the other side. Oh well. To know that it's also a world of raptures and a world of beauties and miracles. It's an odd dynamic. I mean, I'll be honest, give me the poetry of a world like this rather than the grey banalities of our own any day. Any day. That's always been a problem for me. As someone informed and consumed by fiction of this kind, it's left me with a profound distaste for banality and for a world that it circulates around them. You know, I kind of want a world of miracles, even if they're dark miracles. That's fine by me. It's what attracts me to this material, I suppose. It's what attracts many people to this material. It's not just the horror or the grotesquerie of it, it's the strange attraction that it exercises. There's something oddly pure about this strange world. Ah, there's one of the bells done. Ooh, this one's tricky to hit. You've got to get it at a very particular point in its flight path in order to hit it. There we go. 20 out of 38. We've nearly got all of them. We're actually doing really well with them. Oh, this thing. This is a gauntlet where one slip will see you dead. One slip and you are done. And it leads, I believe, to an interconnecting area in one of the other parts of Custodia. Can't remember which one though. It's one of the more bizarre crossroads in Custodia. Oh, well, this is definitely worth it. Anytime we can get one of the cherubim, I'm happy. Tricky one to get, though. Got to be very quick, which the penitent one himself is not. He's just not. He's designed not to be. He's not like Alucard in Castlevania, or even like the Hollow Knights in that game. This guy is almost contrary to the way you would normally create a protagonist in one of these games. He's heavy, he's awkward, he's kind of slow to respond, and that's not poor game design or poor implementation. That's actually the way he's supposed to be. It's a way of enhancing the difficulty and the tortuous nature of the gameplay, which is actually a feature, not a bug. You'll have to forgive me, I've actually just finished baking a white chocolate cheesecake, which is cooling on the side, and I just caught a whiff of it from where I'm sitting, and it smells delicious. Oh, dear me. Gonna need to stop baking those at some point in the new year, but it won't be soon, I can tell you that. Anywho, you're not here to hear about my confectionery exploits. We're actually heading down into one of the lower areas of Custodia that's right underneath Hondo. We need to solve the central puzzle of Hondo, though, in order to get there. The bell has to ring in order to open the way. And that means basically explore it. What was that? Did you see that? Oh, it's a chain. It looked like a figure for a moment. Okay, here we go. The great bell is ringing, and down we go into the next area. Okay, my loves, grievance ascends. Until next time, bye-bye!